Hi, this is Shayna Lee Coaching from Shayna Lee Coaching. Today, I'd like to talk about networking and how important networking is to the job search. And there's two types of networking, right? There's digital networking and in-person networking. What I'm curious to see is a couple things. How important do you think networking is to the job search process? And also, what do you think networking is? I think a lot of times people have a general idea and they know what to do and they set out to do it, but I think there's this element of fear, like what if? What if I reach out to this person and they tell me no, they can't help me, or they're like, why are you contacting me? This is ridiculous. I see a lot of times in the digital space, people are like, well, I networked on LinkedIn. I sent them a message asking them where is the application process, or can they take my resume for a job? So they're kind of missing a step there. And it's really important to understand the processes of networking and also that it's a very natural connection. So I want to talk about those different things and then also address the fears that come along with networking. In my view, the most critical piece of the job search process is networking. Not the application, not the resume, not the job board search. It is creating relationships so that you can position yourself to get your resume in front of the employers or the hiring managers. Okay, so let's start with the digital space because I think that's the most common and people are most familiar with the LinkedIn. That is something that most people are on in the professional world. And the thing with LinkedIn, I think probably a large majority of people on LinkedIn just do it for the sake of doing it. Like, okay, I have my picture, I have like what my resume is, and I look for jobs. So therefore, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm active. And what I see most of the time is people, applying to jobs from LinkedIn because that's become a very common, people are using less and less Career Builder and Monster, and they're really posting their jobs on LinkedIn, and applicants are applying through LinkedIn. And it's great because you have your picture, you can see your recommendations, and that's another kind of conversation is really making sure that your profile speaks to your abilities and really reflects your background appropriately so that you are in the top candidate pool for the jobs that you're looking for. But that's a separate video. So in this video, I really just want to talk on how to create relationships using LinkedIn platform as a tool. The first thing is, if you see a job you like on LinkedIn, just contacting the person who posted the job to say, hey, I'm really interested. Here's my resume. I mean, yes, you can do that, and that potentially could lead to the hiring manager to say, great, send it my way. It happens. But I think the more effective route is to just start creating relationships with the people in the industries that you want to work for. So whether it's hiring managers, recruiters, headhunters. So let's say you're in the IT space or the financial space. Look for recruiters and headhunters who are also in that area. Even if you're not sure what company you want to work for, even maybe what position you want to transition to, at the very least, if you start requesting connections with the people who are in charge of hiring people for those spaces, you're now one leg up. And after you've made those connections, why don't you reach out and introduce, hey, Mr. Recruiter or hiring manager, how are you? My name is so-and-so. I'm really interested in transitioning into a role like this in this industry. If you have anything that you think I might qualify for, if you want to talk to me to find out a little bit more about what my background is, I'd love to hop on a call with you. And now you're kind of creating a relationship with folks who, I mean, a lot of times they don't have the time, but sometimes they might say, sure, I actually have a couple spaces open. Let me find out more about you. Let's hop on the phone call. So it's just really important to create relationships so that they know you by name. And then when you get on the phone, kind of be yourself. And now there's something that sticks out about you, or this person thinks, you know what, I don't have anything for you, but I like your attitude. So if something comes up, or you know what, my colleague actually deals more with the people who are in the IT realm. I'm looking more with developers. So let me share your information with my colleague. So that's kind of tier one, is making sure that recruiters and headhunters are on your LinkedIn profile and that they're your connections and they know who you are and you're not just another name. Also, just one quick LinkedIn kind of tip. If you have seeking new opportunities in your tagline, take it out. Any headhunter or recruiter is looking, sadly for you, if you're unemployed, is looking for people who are currently employed. They'd rather pull you and poach you from your current position than take you out of unemployment. And not to say that you might have not been able to help while you're unemployed. Maybe there was layoffs, a relocation, you just had to try. I mean, there could be a lot of very legitimate reasons why you're unemployed, but for, I mean, whatever reason, there's in any kind of recruiter or hire manager or employer's mind, there's this sense of like, why is this person unemployed? What about them makes them unemployable? What did they do to not have a job right now? So they're not going to be my first pick. I'd rather take someone who's looking to leave a current job because I know they can hang on to their current job. So if you have seeking employment, if you are out of work, take that out. Be doing something relevant to what you want to do, volunteer, intern, you're in a club, a membership, however you can keep your position current in your LinkedIn profile. And then at the bottom, or even if it's your last job, open for new opportunities, please contact me if you would like to learn more, something like that. But just take out seeking new opportunities. Put whatever you are, whatever your skill set is in your headline. Anyway, that was a side note. So now you've created some contacts and some relationships with headhunters and recruiters. You want to do the same thing for your industry. So if there's a particular company that you're interested in or a particular role that you're interested in, reach out and make some connections. Say there's this person who has like the most ideal job, like, oh, I would love to be the senior director at this company. I love what this woman does. Now you're going to take her job because you know she's not going anywhere or he's not going anywhere. But why don't you reach out and make a connection? Hey, I love your experience. I saw what you do. Right now I'm doing XYZ. And it would be my dream to one day be in your shoes. I would love to hear any tips or resources you might have to offer about transitioning into a role like that. And now you've created a connection. Oh, great. Wow, sure. I'd like to hop on a call. In worst case scenario, they ignore you. So the next person will contact you. So start creating relationships in the area that you want to be involved in or in the role that you would like to work in so that it's genuine. You're not just saying, hey, do me a favor, get me a job, right? Now, the third thing is you see a job posted on LinkedIn that you're interested in. Before you go and apply to the job or reach out to the hiring manager, it should tell you in that company for whom this job is posted, who your connections are. It could be someone who currently works there. It could be someone who used to work there. It could be someone who knows someone who worked there. Leverage that. Take advantage of that. And I know a lot of times on LinkedIn, we don't personally know every single person, but that's okay. If they requested you and you accepted them or vice versa, they're your connection on LinkedIn. So they're not going to be weirded out that someone in their connections reached out to them to say, hey, I see you work at Bank of America. I see this job. I think it's really great. Do you have any pointers? Or do you think it's, I don't know, do you think it's okay if I get in touch with the hiring manager? Or just thinking of some kind of linkage. Or, an even better circumstance, it is someone that you actually do know, and you can say, hey, Jenny, I saw they're looking for someone at your company. I'm really interested in this role. Is there any way you can shoot my resume, or do you have anybody that I should talk to, or any recommendations that you have? Because there's this common misconception that, it's like this fear of nepotism, and they probably won't want to go around the process, but they absolutely do. And I'm sure I don't speak for just myself. In the professional world, as soon as a position becomes available, the first thing that happens is it kind of goes internally, like, hey, we're looking for this position. If anybody knows anyone, send their resume. And that could be because your team just interviewed for a very similar position, and there's this whole pool of candidates you didn't select. Send them our way. Maybe they could be a better fit for us. Or someone in your personal and professional network you think would be a good fit. We trust you, so therefore that's going to be helpful to us as an employer to kind of have that bridge. And certainly they have the online application process for a reason, but a lot of times employers rely on that interpersonal referral. So don't be afraid to take advantage of that. If you know someone who's at all connected to a company that is hiring for a position that you want to work in, take advantage of that relationship. Contact the person. They're not going to be upset. The worst they'll say to you is, I don't know anything about it, nothing I can do for you. And honestly, they wouldn't be that great of a referral if that's their response. But 9 out of 10 times, well, I'm not sure, but let me connect you to someone who does. Or yes, absolutely, I'll send your resume over. I've seen a lot of my clients get opportunities for interviews because they took a shot at it. They said, you know what, I see that my third connection knows somebody or used to work there. Let me try. And sure enough, the person took their resume and it led to their personal referral, which led to an interview. It's not a guarantee for a job. You never say, hey, I like this position, get me the job, but you kind of try to position yourself to get your resume in front of the right person so you don't have to go the traditional route. So just keep that in mind with networking on LinkedIn. Be really active at creating relationships. Post on your LinkedIn profile. If you're involved in the tech industry or the medical industry or the finance industry or the media marketing world, write posts about what you're passionate about or comment on articles. Let it be known through your LinkedIn profile that you're really passionate about this area that you're in. And just create genuine relationships. Know people by name. Offer to help them as well. So, hey, thanks so much. And if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. You kind of got to have that give and take. but it's just so important to create those relationships at the onset, even if you don't need anything, even if you don't see a position that's related to somebody. Go through your contacts and see who's interesting, see who you haven't contacted in a while. Send them an inbox. Hey, how are you? Because now you're going to stay relevant, so that if something does come up, you actually have a relationship with this person, and you're not just, never, never, ever, my biggest golden rule, don't ever reach out to someone and say, hey, get me a job. Can you find this job for me? Or, hey, I applied to that job. What's happening with the application? They don't even know you, and you're just contacting them like, what are you doing for me? So just be real mindful about that and reach out to your connections. Keep those relationships. Now, the other part of networking I think people far too often do not take advantage of is in-person networking. Go to events. Go online, Google the industries that you're into. You know, for instance, I'm in New York City. There's loads of events, and anybody who's in a metropolitan area should not have a problem with this. You know, finding meetup groups, finding training, seminars, even just kind of casual after-work events within your industry or with professionals in general. Everywhere I go, I network. If I'm out with my friends having dinner and the waiter comes over and I start shooting the shit with the waiter, my card ends up coming out. Not because I'm trying to sell myself everywhere I go. It's just part of me. I want to share what I do with the world, and so I'm creating relationships. So it might not be that waiter, but it might, because most of them are in the acting world trying to get in, and they're waiting tables. So you know, there's always an opportunity. Oh, it's not me, but you know, my sister-in-law is really looking for something, and so I'm always at my doctor's office. It turns out my doctor's girlfriend is a divorce attorney who's also herself into health and wellness coaching, and so I gave my card, like, hey, share her card, my card with her, and then we can communicate maybe and learn from each other, or network together. There's always opportunities for networking. Specifically, if you are in a space in your life right now where you're really unhappy in your current job and you want to transition into a new role, or you're unemployed and you're really looking for a new role. Now, there's a difference between being desperate, right, and going to these events like, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm looking for a job, help me. But just be yourself, right? Be charismatic. In the same vein that you create relationships in the digital world, create relationships in the networking space. Go to these events. Don't be shy. Throw your name on there. And if you are shy, there are so many events on how to network and really give you those strategies that will help you kind of come out of your shell. Walk up and shake someone's hand, because as shy as you are in that event, so is everybody else. So they're either sticking with people they know, or they're kind of just hanging back, hoping somebody comes up to them so they can also speak to someone. Just go in. As soon as, if you see them, I've seen people in a group and I just kind of throw myself in there a little bit and like, hi, I hate to interrupt. How are you? I'm Shayna. And you start shaking hands, and what do you do, and what are you looking to do? The one thing to think about before you go to a networking event is, who are you, right? What do you do? What are your strengths? And what do you want to do? So one mistake I used to make a lot, actually, in the networking space prior to kind of putting my business into practice, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do professionally. I knew I wanted to do something other than what I was doing, but when people would ask me, and I'd meet them in events, so what is it that you want to do? I'd be like, well, you know, I'm not really sure. I can do anything. I can do this, I can do that, but I can do that too, but I'm open. And that kind of leaves people in a weird spot, like, well, I wish I could help you, but I really still don't know what the hell you want to do, so nice to meet you. So really think about, in your ideal world, based on your situation, what kind of job do you want to do, or what are your strengths? You know, well, I'm flexible in the position, but I really want to be in a role where I'm interacting with people. That's my best asset. Or I'm flexible with the position, but I really want to be in a role where I'm behind the scenes. I like the back end action. I like to be on my computer all day. So at the very least, even if you're vague, excuse the fly in my kitchen, doors open. Even if you're vague in your understanding of what you want to do, you've given them some concept. So if something comes up in the office and they see big bold in the job description, like, must be able to create relationships with people. Oh yeah, I met someone at an event that really wanted to work with people. Let me reach out to them. Let me find their card. So make sure you're creating those relationships, and ask people questions about themselves. Who are you? What are you doing? What's going? Because you never know. You might have a family or a friend or a professional relationship that they could benefit from. So now it's a mutual relationship. I just can't stress enough how important it is to put yourself out there, tell people who you are, what you want to do, ask them about themselves, how you can help them, your neighbors, your friends, at events, at the bank, at the coffee shop. Have your card ready, or your resume, or you know, hey, what's your Facebook or your LinkedIn? I'd love to connect with you. There's every single day there's an opportunity to put yourself out there, and I promise you, the most effective way to position yourself as a top candidate in any professional role is to network, bar none. So please take that advice if you do anything, and let me know how it goes. Post your comments, your questions, and we'll talk.